How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the Thinking Blue podcast. I'm your host, Blake Harris. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Will Smith's incredible game yesterday, along with how underappreciated Clayton Kershaw has been this season. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Blake Harris, TBLA, where I post a lot of great Dodgers content. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm currently doing a giveaway where I'll be giving away 3 Dodgers bobbleheads. Now, in order to win, go over to my Twitter, follow me, make sure you retweet my pin tweet, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be picking the winner and DMing them next Friday. So we got about 5 days to enter the contest. You can follow all that stuff in the description as well in case you missed it. So keep your eyes open for that. And I will also be interviewing a former Dodgers player tomorrow. Not going to give you guys any idea who it is, but you'll definitely want to make sure you check out tomorrow's episode. So as I mentioned, make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely something you don't want to miss. It's really cool. It's a really cool opportunity I got, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys tomorrow who exactly I'll be interviewing. But before we get started, it's time to take a look back and see what happened on this date in Dodgers history. Now, on July 28th, 1991, Expos right-hander Dennis Martinez pitches a perfect game, defeating the Dodgers 2-0 at Dodger Stadium. So it's the second perfect game ever thrown at Dodger Stadium. Not necessarily good Dodgers news, but still Dodgers news nonetheless. A perfect game against them at Dodger Stadium. But now it's time to move on to the latest Dodgers news. Alright, the Dodgers are currently at this very moment playing the Washington Nationals. It's the first inning, it's 0-0, so nothing too exciting there. But so far, they've beaten the Nationals both games, Friday night and Saturday afternoon, and they're 2-0 in the Tyler White era. I talked about in the last episode, they acquired Tyler White from the Houston Astros, and it's paid off for the Dodgers. They're 2-0. Going over to Friday's game right now, the Dodgers defeated the Nationals 4-2, but essentially the Dodgers got all their runs in the 8th inning thanks to a 3-run home run from Justin Turner. But prior to that, they scored a run in the first inning, and Anibal Sanchez completely held them in check. I think he got like 18 to 20 consecutive outs. The Dodgers had essentially nothing going through the first 7 innings. Justin Turner gives the Dodgers the lead in the 8th. And we'll talk about what happened in the 9th later on, but first and foremost, what another dominant outing from Hyun-Jin Ryu. He goes 6 2/3 innings, strikes out only 4, allows 8 base hits, but allows only 1 run. That run did come in the 7th inning. He was taken out of the game for Joe Kelly. He gets out of the jam. I believe there were 2 runners on base. He gets the final out, and he escapes the jam. But Hyun-Jin Ryu, yet another dominant start for him. He moves his ERA down to 1.74. Now, I believe in Dodgers history, through the first 20 starts of a season, Hyun-Jin Ryu's 1.74 ERA is like 4th lowest of all time. So another dominant start. His historic season continues. I strongly believe he's going to finish the season with an ERA of under 2. I mean, he's going to have some blow-up starts coming. Now, he is pitching in Colorado this week, which I'm not looking forward to, because the reason his ERA is 1.74 and not something like 1.1, 1.2 is because of that start he had at Coors Field about a month ago where he allowed so many runs. So hopefully Hyun-Jin Ryu, he doesn't have a blow-up start in Colorado. Hopefully he can keep that ERA under 2, and we'll have to wait and see. But moving to the 9th inning of that game, Kenley Jensen comes in, gets the first 2 outs, no problem, and he's just 1 out away from getting the save when things just started kind of falling apart. He allows a hit, he balks a guy over to third, hits a batter, and the Nationals are kind of just stringing together a little rally, and they had the tying run at second base with 2 outs. The go-ahead run at first base, all of a sudden, I mean, things just completely fell apart. Luckily for him, he was able to get Howie Kendrick striking out to end the game. But another shaky outing for Kenley Jansen. Things just, something's not right with him. I mean, his velocity was there this outing, but his location was just all over the place. So I'm not sure if there's something going on behind the scenes we don't know about. But Kenley Jansen, he does get the save, but he did not look good at all in that outing. Dave Roberts talked about it following the game, that he was kind of concerned with his location, with how, he was only 1 out away from getting it, and things just kind of completely just fell apart. So I'm glad he got the save, glad the Dodgers got the win, but Kenley Jansen, another concerning outing. So moving forward, definitely something to keep an eye on. We now move to yesterday's game. The offense decided to show up, defeating the Nationals 9-3. Now, the main reason, the offense decided to show up was concerning the fact that most of it came off the bat of Will Smith. He drove in 6, scored a run of his own, had 3 hits, hit a home run, missed out on a grand slam by maybe 5 feet or so. I mean, he got a double, but that ball almost went over. He also had a sacrifice fly that was maybe 10 feet from going over the fence as well. So Will Smith, when it's all said and done, could have potentially had a 3-home run game. Nonetheless, 3 for 3, as I mentioned, 6 RBIs. It's the most RBIs by a rookie Dodger since James Loney had 9 way back over 10 years ago with that game at Coors Field. I'm sure you guys remember that game. I mean, Will Smith is already contributing more at the plate than Austin Barnes did this season. For Will Smith, it was already his second game this season in which he had at least 3 RBIs. That's only in 10 games this season, whereas Austin Barnes, and I believe 70 games he's played, only has 1 game at 3 RBIs. So, Will Smith, for your first game back, you couldn't have had a better game. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. He's definitely the catcher moving forward for the Dodgers. He's here to stay. Until September when the rosters expand, I don't see any reason Austin Barnes is going to come back unless he absolutely is tearing things up in AAA. But Will Smith, he's the real deal. As I mentioned, only 10 games, so that sample size is still very small. But anytime you can hit 345 through your first 10 games, you have 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in, I believe. That is truly special, and I'm excited to see what he does moving forward. Switching things over to Clayton Kershaw now. I mean, he had another really, really good outing yesterday. He went 6 innings. He's gone at least 6 innings in his first 18 starts this season. He's the 6th pitcher in Dodgers history to throw at least 6 innings in their first 18 starts of the year. Surprisingly, it's the first time in Clayton Kershaw's career that he's accomplished that. So you would have thought that with how many dominant seasons he's had in the past, that he would have accomplished that before, but no, this is the first time in his career that he's done it. Now, I tweeted this yesterday, and this is truly a remarkable stat. So, on the season, Kershaw's ERA is at 2.85, which is the 6th best in all of baseball. So, the fact that he has the 6th best ERA in all of baseball, with an ERA that's his highest since 2010. So, put that into perspective. Kershaw, ERA-wise, 6th best in all of baseball, but it's the worst that he's had in nearly a decade. So that just goes to show how dominant Kershaw has been over the course of his entire career. He's still dominant. I mean, that's the crazy thing. You look at Kershaw's ERA at just under 3. By his standards, that's an off season, where by majority of pitchers in baseball, that's a career year. I mean, Kershaw this year, 9-2, ERA of 2.85, as I mentioned. His whip is at 1.017, 117 strikeouts and 117 innings pitched, which is truly remarkable. At his age 31 season, he's finding out ways to improve his game, to pitch into his 30s, and I don't see Kershaw slowing down anytime soon. I mean, he's going to pass Sandy Koufax in his next start for most career strikeouts, so that's going to be something really cool. But Kershaw, I mean, a very, very good season. I mean, for Kershaw, it seemed like earlier in the season he was kind of struggling with the strikeouts, but over the course of his last 5 or so starts, he has completely found his strikeout punch yet again. 7, 9, 7, 10, 9. These are how many strikeouts he's had in his last 5 starts. So not only is Kershaw figuring out how to, advance far in games and limiting the damage, he's also figuring out ways to get a good amount of strikeouts as well. So Kershaw, another great start, another great season for him. And because he's kind of behind Hyun-Jin Ryu, Walker Buehler's been having another good season. Clayton Kershaw's kind of just been flying under the radar a bit among, the best pitchers in all of baseball. When you talk about top 5, top 10 pitchers in baseball, it seems like nowadays you don't even really mention Kershaw's name because a lot of people just think he's washed up. A lot of people think he's not the Kershaw of old, when if anything, he's proven that this is one of the better seasons of his career because he's having to work around things. He's having to figure out, what can I do now without having my dominant fastball? What can I do now with, my age 31 season, with me not having exactly the stuff I used to have in years past? So Kershaw, in my opinion, one of the better seasons of his career. Hey, if he can keep this up, Kershaw might make a strong push for Hyun-Jin Ryu for a Cy Young Award winner this year. I don't know if he'll be able to catch Ryu, but I think Kershaw has the chance to finish top 3 in Cy Young voting yet again. But yeah, that wraps it up for the recaps for the Dodgers. Now it's time to move over to the rumor bit. Every few days it seems like there are new rumors coming out. A few days ago it was with Noah Syndergaard and Edwin Diaz. Today it's with Marcus Stroman. Now, so Ken Rosenthal reported yesterday that the Dodgers actually might be involved with Marcus Stroman because they believe they're not going to get one of these big-name relievers, so instead they're going to try to get a starter, push one of their other starters into the bullpen. I would assume like Rich Hill, Kenta Maeda, they would push those two guys to the bullpen. So not sure how, involved the Dodgers are with trying to acquire Marcus Stroman, but this would be a move that I could 100% get behind. Marcus Stroman, you look at his record of 6-11, it's a bit of a turnoff, but his ERA is 2.96. He has a whip of 1.22. So those two right there, great numbers across the board. He has an FIP of 3.52, so very decent numbers, right there. His ERA of 2.96, that's the second lowest of his entire career, which, if you stretch it out over the course of an entire season, it is the lowest of his entire career. 124 innings pitched, 118 hits allowed, only 99 strikeouts. So the thing about Marcus Stroman is he's not a strikeout pitcher. He never has been. I mean, for his career, he's only averaging 7.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. But the thing about Marcus Stroman is he's a ground ball pitcher. Now, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now about like what his ground ball rate is, but he's one of the better ground ball pitchers in all of baseball, so that's how he gets his outs. As I mentioned, he has an ERA of under 3. He has a WAR of 3.2 this season. So, I mean, if the Blue Jays were giving him run support, I don't have that stat in front of me as well, but the fact that he has a 2.96 ERA and 11 losses, that just goes to show me that he doesn't have that much run support. So I don't think wins are a good stat. I think people look too much into that. But if Marcus Stroman was getting run support and he was, let's say, like 13-3, then all of a sudden everyone would have a completely different mindset of him as a pitcher. He's got another year of control, I believe. And I think this would be a great move for the Dodgers. I've always liked Marcus Stroman's game. I mean, aside from his season last year where I don't know what went wrong, had a 5.54 ERA, he has been good throughout the rest of his career. His rookie season, 11-6, 3.65 ERA. Following season, 1.67 ERA. In 2017, he made 33 starts, had an ERA of 3.09. So Marcus Stroman, I've always liked his game. If the Dodgers can acquire him, that would be absolutely a fantastic move. Now, for him, I don't think the price is going to be as high as guys like Felipe Vazquez or Shane Green. Now, supposedly the Blue Jays were asking for the Yankees' number 1 prospect in return for Marcus Stroman. But for the Yankees' number 1 prospect, he was ranked number 66 overall in the MLB pipeline. So the Dodgers, they might be able to, trade away, let's say just a Keibert Ruiz, and that's kind of it to get a Marcus Stroman. Or, hey, maybe they can swing a deal for like Tony Gonsolin, maybe some lower-level prospects as well to try to get Stroman back in return. So it's not going to be as demanding of a package for a Felipe Vazquez. And as I mentioned, if you're adding Marcus Stroman to the starting rotation, coming into October, Clayton Kershaw, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Walker Buehler, Marcus Stroman, that's arguably the best starting rotation in October, and you can make a legitimate case for that. I really like adding Rich Hill to the bullpen. You're getting a lefty in your bullpen, which if you throw in Rich Hill 1 or 2 innings, I think that's going to be great moving forward. So, like again, not entirely sure how active, how involved the Dodgers are with trying to acquire Marcus Stroman, but I think that'd be a great move. Now, another move that I would love to see the Dodgers try to do with the Blue Jays, if they can try to package Ken Giles with Marcus Stroman, that would be even better. Ken Giles, one of the better relief pitchers in all of baseball this season. He's pitched in 35 games, has an ERA of 1.54, 58 strikeouts in 35 innings, so he's averaging 15 strikeouts per 9 innings, has a strikeout-to-walk ratio of about 5.5 to 1. His whip is just over 1, has an FIP of 1.6, an ERA plus of 2.92. I mean, Ken Giles, I've liked him throughout his career. He was really good in Philadelphia, went over to Houston, kind of struggled, then was really good with Houston back in 2017, had a 2.30 ERA, struggled in 2018. I mean, he had a 4.65 ERA in 55 games, but he seemed to kind of find things this year, only 28 years old, so again, I'm not entirely sure how active the Dodgers have been with the Blue Jays, if they've inquired about Ken Giles, but I think if you can get Stroman and Ken Giles, that would be an absolutely amazing pickup. And again, I don't think it would cost, something too bad. You throw in a Keibert Ruiz, maybe throw in a Tony Gonsolin, and then maybe some prospects around the 15 to 25 kind of range. So if the Dodgers can pull that off, I think that would help them drastically. And I think you're getting a starting pitcher that helps moving forward. You're getting another piece in your bullpen that helps moving forward. So if you're the Dodgers, definitely see what the Blue Jays are asking. And, we'll have to wait and see. The trade deadline is, only 3-4 days away right now. So a lot can happen by then. The Blue Jays are definitely going to be sellers. I'm sure teams are, asking about these two guys. So hopefully the Dodgers can figure something out, because these are two moves that I would love to see happen. Now, I mentioned his name briefly a few minutes ago, but I kind of want to touch up on Felipe Vazquez. Now, there was a report that came out the other day that the Dodgers have been the most active with the Pirates in regards to trying to talk about a potential Felipe Vazquez trade, but it looks like the Pirates are asking for Keibert Ruiz, Dustin May, and at least other prospects as well. So the Dodgers, that's your number 2 prospect, your number 3 prospect, and I don't think the Dodgers are going to do a deal like that. Now, I do think the Dodgers should try and get Felipe Vazquez. I mean, he's arguably the best reliever out there on the market right now. He's under control for the next 4 seasons. Not that much money. I would absolutely love the Dodgers to have him. I think he would make the bullpen the best it's been during their 3-year World Series run, but it's too big of a haul, I think. I think trading Dustin May and Keibert Ruiz, that's too much. If it was something like Keibert Ruiz and then maybe like a DJ Peters, a Dennis Santana, and then maybe like another prospect in the 20 range, I think that's more than okay. I think that's more than fair. But the Pirates, I mean, you give them the credit, they're being greedy, which they should be. I mean, they have the best reliever on the market. He's under control. You got to try to ask for something that's too much. Maybe a team will buy in on it. The worst case, the team could counter with it, but it looks like the Pirates, my prediction is they're going to hold on to him because teams don't want to meet that high demand. Maybe, once July 31st comes around and no one's trying to bite on a deal, maybe the Pirates will give the Dodgers a call and say, hey, we'll just take Keibert and maybe another top 25 prospect or so, and maybe the Dodgers can get it done. But as of right now, I don't think the Dodgers are going to trade for him. Now, I was very shocked, though, because I was very active about this whole situation yesterday on Twitter. I did a poll saying how the Pirates are asking for Dustin May and Keibert Ruiz, plus an additional player. Would you do that trade? And currently it's split with 2,000 votes, over 2,000 votes, 50-50 with yes and no. And then I did another poll yesterday saying, who has a better chance to help the Dodgers win the World Series in 2019? This poll has about 1,200 votes as of right now, and I'm very, very surprised. 30% of the people say Dustin May and Keibert Ruiz have a better chance to help the Dodgers win the World Series in 2019. Now, I feel like both these players might be September call-ups. There's no way either one's going to be on the 25-man roster unless something just, completely crazy happens. But the fact that 30% of Dodgers fans think that they have a better chance to help them win the World Series than Felipe Vazquez. Now, as I mentioned, the price is too high for him, but if you're the Dodgers, you have a chance to win the World Series this year. Sure, we can say the Dodgers are going to be there next year. They're going to be there in 2021. There's no certainty in baseball. Anything can happen. It might be 10 years until the Dodgers reach the World Series again. If you have the chance to win it all this year, you got to completely go for it, I think. And Felipe Vazquez, I'm not saying he's going to be the complete difference maker. Acquiring him is going to guarantee them a World Series. But we've seen what happens with the Dodgers bullpen come October. Their starters only go 4 to 5 innings. And if you need 4 to 5 innings out of your bullpen, how much are you going to trust, Rich Hill, Kenta Maeda, Julio Urias? I mean, maybe a Dylan Floro, maybe a Caleb Ferguson if those guys are there. How much are you going to trust a Joe Kelly, a Kenley Jansen, a Pedro Baez? This is a guy with arguably he's going to be your best reliever come that time. I just don't know what the Dodgers are going to do. They desperately need a good bullpen piece, but the market is very slim. Jake Diekman was traded to the A's yesterday. Shane Green, he's still available. So, I mean, there are some options still out there, but none as dominant as Felipe Vazquez. So, I'm hoping the Pirates come down with their price and the Dodgers can only part with one of their top 10 guys. But we're going to have to wait and see. I literally have no idea what's going to happen. I did an article yesterday for True Blue LA pretty much saying what percentage I give the top 5 prospects in the Dodger system to be traded. And I think I gave Dustin May and Keibert Ruiz a 25% chance because the only way I think they're moved is if they're moved in this Felipe Vazquez deal. I'm not entirely certain, but we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, the trade deadline's still, 3 days away, so a lot can happen between now and then. The Dodgers might acquire a player that, that's going to make them stand pat, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, that does wrap up this episode of Thinkin' Blue. If you have any questions you'd like to have answered in the next episode, leave a comment below and I'll try to get to them in the next podcast. Or you can ask me on Twitter as well. My handle is Blake Harris, TBLA. There's my Twitter plug again, so make sure you go and you follow me over there. Thank you again for listening. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm going to be interviewing a former Dodgers player tomorrow, so you definitely don't want to miss that. This has been Blake Harris, and I will see you guys in my next episode.